We got Eric on the ride. Good morning.
Hey.
How you doing? How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I picked up an extra shift for work so that I can make some money because it's been slow the past couple days and I got to go Christmas shopping.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm making a trip to New York and I'm not about to go to New York.
It's been slow because of Thanksgiving and everything. The holidays.
Mainly, yeah. Everyone has leftovers for days, so no one really feels the need to go out. But
yeah,
it should be picking back up on Saturday, which is exciting.
Oh yeah, but after all the calm, I'm sure you're ready for the storm, right?
Yeah, I need the money. I need the money really bad.
Yeah. Christmas sneaks up on you real quick.
Real fast. I wasn't expecting it to come up this fast. I was expecting at least another week or two before it felt like it was gonna be arriving.
Yeah, trust me. My daughter was like, "Can we put up the Christmas tree?" I was like, "Already?" She's like, "It's December."
It's December.
I'm like, "Oh, already?"
Actually,
are you from Florida?
I was raised here, but I wasn't born here.
Oh, well, tongue twister. Where were you born?
I was born in South America.
Really? What part?
Yeah. Caracas, Venezuela.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's real big. In Venezuela, I know it has a lot going on with the politics and everything like that.
Yeah,
so you have a lot of family down there?
Actually, we're all in the States now. When I was like 8, we all like hijacked and moved because it was getting awful. I mean, my parents were trying to sugarcoat it when I was down there. They were telling me that, it was getting dangerous, or we were low on money and it was going to be easier to move to America. But I found out recently that we were actually really high up financially in Venezuela, because down there you're either, at least in my experience, you're either very well off, which would be like a middle class American financial situation, or you're homeless, essentially. It's like one or the other. There's no in between.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I used to drive down the highway and there would be what we call ranchitos, which are literally houses made of cardboard and found wood on the side of the mountain, like hundreds of them.
Really? So
yeah.
People.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole community of houses made out of cardboard.
Yeah. Down every highway. Just imagine seeing houses, like little homeless shelters, all the way down this strip. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
But we moved. We lived in a house with like 4 other families. My parents were missionaries. I'm not actually a Latino. I'm white. Oh. But my parents were missionaries, and they kind of traveled around the world.
A lot of Venezuelans are real light skinned, so I wouldn't have known.
People usually don't ask questions. I mean, it's the same thing. I've one of my closest friends in high school, and she's full-blooded Cuban, but her and both her parents pale skin, blonde hair. So most people don't ask questions. But we were technically pretty wealthy down there. I mean, up here we'd be like regular middle class, but we were making pretty good money down there. And my parents were just telling me that we were low on money and a bunch of other stuff, but they were just sugarcoating it. I found out when I went this recently, I mean like 5 years ago, that we left because it was literally getting so dangerous that you could be on the highway and you had to like cement glue your windows shut, your car windows shut, and lock your door when you were on the highway at a red light, because people would literally break into your car.
Really?
When you were on the road, because of how dangerous it was getting. I mean, I've been reading articles about people having to cross the border to Colombia just to get groceries, and it's getting awful.
It's tough. I know even like there's some places like that where they say, like even in Puerto Rico, there's some places where they say don't stop at the red lights. Yield. You just yield. You don't stay sitting at the red light. So yeah, I heard it's pretty serious out there, but it's like I didn't imagine it to be what you painted the picture for me. Yeah,
and again, I only know the baby details. I'm probably just giving you the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
If I'm being honest.
Right.
I'm not gonna claim to know very much about the situation. I just know why we left and a few things my parents told me in some articles that I read.
What brought your family there in the first place?
Missionary work.
You just mentioned that, right?
Yeah, my parents, I have 4 brothers and 3 sisters, and my parents just kind of, instead of pursuing like what we would call a rational career, they kind of just both took off with each other after they met and traveled around the world and spread the word of God, which essentially, they were non-denominational, so it wasn't very heavy organized religion. It was pretty much just them saying, God is love, God is peace, love thy neighbor kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate to have been raised in a positive religious setting.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of
like, people can say whatever they want about other people's religions, but the key thing is that there's all religion is meant to be for a positive reason. So
I think religion is an extremely, it's a topic I could talk about for hours. Not necessarily the details, the fundamentals of the Bible, but how it affects us as a society, and how it interacts with media and with people and the way we're raised and our self-esteem and the psychological situation. It affects everything.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll spare the audience hours of us going back and forth, but we can definitely. I'm with you on that, man. There's
religion dictates a lot of the social interactions that we have on a regular basis.
A lot, and it's to go back all the way to ancient times. You know what I mean? Religion was more influential than even back then than it is now, and the trickle down effects. You know what I mean? We're still even without knowing. We're still doing things that are religion based without even knowing. So that's pretty intense to learn. But educate you guys yourself with that. Maybe we'll save that for another episode.
But like I said, it's like my parents. They had a lot of kids. They kind of went around the world popping babies out, and the last place they went was South America. It was Venezuela, and me and another one of my brothers was born there. So we spent a lot of our time down there. Most of my family's bilingual. I'm not. I left way too early to be bilingual. Do you
go back down there every once in a while? I know you said about like 5 years ago you said you were down there.
Oh no, 5 years ago my parents told me the truth about why we left.
Okay.
I haven't been back since I was like 7 or 8.
Oh, for real? All right.
Yeah, I'd be a stranger there.
Yeah. So let me say I noticed you make it look real good. You got probably girls on there like thinking, oh wow, I really like his makeup. So how long you been doing that?
So it's weird. It's weird because this whole thing falls into like another extensive conversation that could go into gender identity. But I just started makeup because I've been doing theater almost my entire life, and
really?
Yeah, and I've been doing when I started doing basic makeup in theater, and it kind of starts there for some people. I mean, if I'm discussing like a general group of people,
right? I understand.
Even more specifically, men who wear makeup. But when I started theater, it started like I would wear foundation, and I felt like my skin was smoother. And then I started doing eyeliner when I had like big theaters, so that I was appealed to the look. It's like it starts off small like that, and over time your collection just develops. And at some point, I just said, screw it, and I decided that this is something that I want to do. And it's weird because I have to be very cautious about where I do it. Not like I'm in no way someone who's self-conscious. I'm not gonna.
No, I didn't get that from you. That's why I felt comfortable to ask you about it. And I was hoping that you can help shed that confidence. Share that confidence with anybody who's watching.
Well, I'm not even necessarily self-conscious. It's just I think there's and I say this with a grain of salt, but I think there is a place and a time to be the full version of yourself. Not saying you should ever deny any part of yourself, but
right.
I like, for example, if I'm like on Instagram, my Instagram account is crazy. Almost all my pictures are me looking extremely androgynous, and I'm also working on being a male model in New York. So I mean, I've got photographers out there that I'm talking to. It's already being set up, but this is essentially the scene where I fall into is the androgynous male modeling scene, which is actually a huge selling point right now in the industry that we live in.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's the idea of breaking gender barriers within fashion is a huge trend right now. So
I can see that.
Yeah. So I think the reason that I'm so public about it, and I say it like it's something to be ashamed of, but the reason I'm so public about it is because I think that we don't have enough people that are okay breaking the gender norms. Like, it has nothing to do with your gender identity as to whether you identify as a guy or a girl. It's a matter of just what you want to do as a person, and how that has nothing to do with the way people are going to view you or the way that you should label yourself. I mean, labels are, again, extensive conversation, labels are the reason why we have so many stereotypes, so many racial slurs, so much homophobia. I mean, labels at the very foundation, as much as they were at one point something developed to easily understand a group of people that had no name, is now something that I think should be starting to get broken down, because it's now restricting us from being anything outside of these boxes.
Right.
You know, I mean, we've got a lot of things that we can be nowadays. You can be anything you want, which is awesome. But every type of person is a little box, and you have to fit in that box, and there's no fluidity.
Elaborate for me.
So, for example, let's just talk about and I'm no longer on it, but there is a gay dating app called Grindr. And even though I primarily date men, I'm not going to go ahead and label myself as gay, not because it's anything to be ashamed of, but just because I don't think that, like, what if one day I meet a woman and I fall in love with her?
Right. And then no longer can you claim that.
Yeah, because because I have gone so far down the line, and as to everyone that knows me as being the gay man, that I no longer can be anything else.
Right.
So, and again, I'm going to go back to the original topic, is bisexuality is something that within the gay communities I've recognized is kind of not cool, which is really annoying, because I've talked to many of my own personal gay friends, and many people in that community that say, if I'm dating a guy and I find out he's been with a girl, I think it's gross.
Oh, really?
Dead serious. I'm not even messing with you. And that's one of the big things, is now that you are gay, you are bi, you are straight.
Right.
You are asexual, you are pansexual. You're not allowed to just
too many labels now.
Yeah, you're not allowed to just be fluid and be a human being who likes people.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And because of these labels, if I go out wearing makeup, people immediately assume I'm a transgendered woman, which I'm not offended by, but at the same time, it's like people immediately call me she or her. Again, not offended, but it's the fact that as a society, we've developed so many strict labels that allow people to be anything they want, but we no longer have the ability to just be people. Like, for example, assumably you're straight, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you as a straight man, and I'm not saying this would ever happen, but if you were to, at one point, one day in your life, just like meet a guy, and that's all you can think about.
Right.
Because of the labels, you could just say, fuck it, and pardon the language, and go ahead and date that guy. But every person you know is going to crucify you, because they're like, I thought you were straight.
Right. Well, I actually dated a woman that was recognized as lesbian for several years. Yeah. And we met and we hit it off, and we started dating.
Exactly it.
And it was almost like a prejudice on the other side. Yeah. A lot of her girlfriends were giving her a hard time.
But he's a guy.
Because she was dating a guy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is love and gender, I think, are both very fluid. I think if I want to wake up in the morning and I want to wear a dress, that's on me. No one should assume that I'm a woman, that I'm a man, that I'm gay, that I'm straight, that they should just say, hey, what's up? What's your name? And I'm like, I'm Eric. And they're like, cool, nice to meet you, Eric. If they want to go out of their way and be polite and ask for pronouns, that's okay, but it's the assumptions.
Right, exactly. And I'll be honest, I even know some straight men that would wear makeup.
Yeah.
They're just,
male models have to wear makeup.
Make them look fresh. The girls would make them feel like they look good because of it. So then they start,
Yeah.
That's
I mean, the fashion industry is something that really, really promotes me to be this, because, okay, just an example. Recent trend that came out, okay, first of all, it's not, I hate the whole romp him thing. So it's a romper. But the fact that women have been wearing rompers for centuries, not centuries, Jesus, like maybe like a decade. And I personally have been wearing rompers for about 5 years. A romper isn't necessarily a feminine thing. A romper can be anything. It just means a one piece. It just means pants and like one of those like tacky like male janitor jumpsuits is a romper. But this gender stereotypes go so far as to the second that something is released in the male, like if they put out a male fashion line that promotes lace or promotes anything that was on the female end of the trend spectrum, everyone's the amount of posts that I saw on my Facebook feed that were like, if I see one of my brothers out there in a romper, he's gonna get decked. That's feminine. That's gay. That's bada. That's da. And it's like, let your friend wear what he wants. Right. Him wearing a romper is not gay. It's not feminine. It's
But
just another
if that's
male
what he
fashion
likes,
trend.
Who are you to
Yeah.
tell him different? Just
Yeah.
take it left ear.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's just again, it all goes back to the topic of gender and love fluidity. I think that people should just be people, and we should stop asking questions and just, if someone wants to go on a date with a woman one day, they can go on a date with a woman. If someone wants to go on a date with a man one day, they can go on a date with a man. If someone wants to wear makeup, that doesn't take anything away from who they originally were. If someone wants to not wear makeup, that doesn't mean they're lazy. It doesn't mean they're sick. It means they just don't want to wear makeup that day. If you want to go out in sweatpants and you're going to work, you can wear sweatpants at work unless it's against your your code book. But if you want to go to work and you are wearing like a pretty dress, you're not trying to impress anyone. It's just like, that's what I'm talking about. It's all these crazy assumptions that we have that every single thing has a motive outside of just being one's own self.
I tell you that I definitely applaud you for this and sending that message, and I think it really, you speak volumes, and I hope that people watching get inspired by you, because I tell you, man, that's what it's all about. People really should just be themselves and not worry too much. Like you said, right place, right time. Somewhat. Of course, you always should never hide who you are, but at the same time, I don't cuss at my mother's house.
Exactly. I would never, like, if I were working somewhere else, if I was working if I was working at a sports bar, I wouldn't wear this much makeup. It wouldn't make me money.
It wouldn't make sense. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fit in. Exactly.
So
you got to appeal to the market.
Yeah.
Well, we're here. I'm gonna wrap this up, man. Unfortunately, I wish we could spend all day talking, because this is a really good one, man. For real. Definitely appreciate you.
Have a good day. What was your name again?
And keep being you, man.